Welcome to our pod, and by that I mean on Wednesdays we read. I'm Hannah.
I'm Laura.
And we are two best friends who usually do a deep dive into a new book series, one book at a time. Except today it's a special episode where we say, is it weird to read about two men's love life when they are not active participants and they really exist in real life?
No, because they like it.
Because today we are talking about fanfic featuring Greg Davies and Alex Horn of
Taskmaster Fanfiction. It exists. They know it.
They know
embrace it.
They're well aware of this. And Laura begs the
and
question,
they've read some.
Do they lean into it now? Because
Yes.
it might appear that they do. So,
Hannah, history with Taskmaster. Your history with Taskmaster.
My history with Taskmaster is the first year I started dating my husband. We were coming home from a New Year's Eve trip from our friend Bobby's house. And the next day we were kind of just lazing around, like, oh, it was a late night. And his sister had recommended to us that we watch Taskmaster, and we started watching it. And then over the course of a year, 2.5 years, I want to say, we watched all of it. So it was usually spread out. We usually watched 2 episodes a season, and we were going very slowly with it. And then Jason Mantzoukas was in season 19, and Hannah loves Jason Mantzoukas. And I was fully prepared this season to take it slow and just get there when we get there. And my husband was like, no, you love this man. We're just catching up. So we booked it through the final 4 or 5 seasons, and the rest is history until I started bugging my best friend Laura to also watch Taskmaster. And Laura, what's your history with Taskmaster?
So my history harkens back to last year where we covered some of Taskmaster for a Patreon episode.
Great episode.
And I did not know what to think of it at the time because you were showing me some of the oddest moments of Taskmaster, I believe.
And I was fucking a chickpea.
Yeah, I was very unfamiliar with this show and was a little unsure of what to think of it. But then Hannah was talking a lot about Jason Mantzoukas being in Taskmaster, and I was having a little bit of FOMO and was like, I need to check this out. So I watched all of season 19 with my husband, and we loved it. We
so good.
Thought that season 19 was fantastic. So then subsequently, the rest of this year, basically, I have been just binging all of Taskmaster. I am in the middle of season 15 now, and it's been basically the year of Taskmaster for me because I've watched so much of it. Yeah. I've talked about it a lot on the podcast and everything. And so, yeah, I think that it's a perfect feel-good show. I've been dealing with a lot of depression this year and everything. And that show has become a deep comfort for me. And I think it is for a lot of people because it's actually really nice to go in the YouTube comments and see how kind and supportive people are. And also to just see how much this show makes people happy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there is all sorts of free Taskmaster content available online, and it is wonderful. And Taskmaster, I guess, to kind of give a brief overview of what it is to people, is a British reality game show of sorts, and somewhat of a panel show where we have 2 people, Greg Davies, who is the Taskmaster, and his assistant Alex Horn,
who created the show and decided he wasn't going to be the person in charge.
Who created the show and somehow decided that he didn't need to actually be the Taskmaster, he should just be the assistant. But he makes the assistant Alex, he makes all of these unique tasks along with his helpers and the production crew and everything. And they have usually 5 comedians. Sometimes they have special episodes featuring other types of celebrities. But these cast members in each series will try to complete these tasks, which are usually the most bizarre things you can possibly think of. Get this plate of marbles over here, but one of you must be hopping, the other one must be clapping, and they must all be on a plate. And I am sitting on a horse, so bring them to me when I'm sitting on a horse or a cow or whatever it is. So they're all
excellent rendition of a real task that exists.
I mean, that is actually a real thing that happened in season 19.
Yes.
So, and one of my favorite moments from that was, "Go, Stevie!" And she jumps down this hill, like thrusting her hips
Her
forward.
hips and yes. So
But
beautiful.
yeah, this
I'm locked in.
locked in. I'm locked in. But I I started at the beginning after watching season 19 and I went from season 1 all the way through and now I'm in the middle of 15 and every time I start a new series I feel sad about leaving the cast behind and I'm like they'll never have a cast as good as this one. And then I'm about by the second
Immediately
episode
charmed.
immediately charmed by all of these people and want to be friends with them. And so, yeah, I've loved every single cast so much. There are some favorites that I have that I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, I'll definitely rewatch these seasons. But yeah, Tana, do you have a favorite cast or cast members
Ah,
before
gosh. I
we
mean,
get into
I
the
have so
fanfic?
many favorite cast members, and I think I'm someone who like willingly would watch Taskmaster on repeat for the rest of my life
I
because like
mean, yeah,
I have a very bad memory when it comes to some of the tasks. So like they always feel new or like
they
the
do.
jokes and the beats just feel perfect. So I also have like favorite tasks. Like I think
Hmm.
those are the things that I get locked into. So like
Locked in.
exactly. So like Richard Herring being a creep in a bush, like that's so funny. Um, I and sometimes just I really like the unsung heroes. Like I feel like Sophie Duker, she was a winner,
Oh,
but I
I
just
love
really
Sophie.
love Sophie. Like I think she was
Hmm.
fantastically charming. And then I don't have you watched the season with oh what's her name? May or May Martin. Have you watched their season yet? I
Yeah,
don't think
that's 15,
oh
actually.
that
That's the
is
one I'm
15.
in the middle of right
Okay.
now. I'm only
Um
on episode 3. So
we there's like an episode where one of her co-contestants just starts singing
I
like
think it's there.
oh there sorry thank you I always mistake that but their one of their co-contestants is like three poles on a barge pole for me and we like sing that
For
constantly
me. Yeah.
and it
That was in the second episode.
and I love that episode I think like I don't know I feel like every season is its own special season
I
the
know a lot of
season
people really like season 7, the one with James A. Caster and Phil Wang and Jessica Knappett, Carrie
yeah
Godlyman, all of them. Um, but and I can see why that one has wide appeal. But there's some of these other and another one that people cite often is season 5, which was Bob Mortimer.
Yeah, Bob
And
Mardenborough is a huge favorite. So,
yeah,
yeah.
everyone loves Bob Mortimer. And I think my favorite moment from that, honestly, was Nish and Mark's song. That
Nish and
was,
Mark's song is so freaking beautiful. And then you have
and then
like
you have Bob and Sally who like told this woman to her face that she sucks in a song.
she's a fucking
Possibly it's
nightmare. A
effing
fucking
nightmare.
nightmare.
And like, well, it's Bob Mortimer, so everyone loves it. But
Yeah. It's so
but
like
Mark and Nish's
yeah.
song was so wonderful. Like I still want that to be my ringtone. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
need that song played all the time. Never good enough. But it was so surprising and Nish was so bad at so many of the tasks that it was just like out of nowhere that the two
It
of
was
them were
so
so
good.
good at that
I
one
know.
and had like musical ability. It was
I also
wonderful.
did love like season 4. I think season 4 is another standout. That's the one with Hugh Dennis, Joe Lissette, Lolly, Mel, and Noel
So
Fielding.
Hugh and Mel
Like
were a team together and I loved the two of them as a
they're
team. And I thought
so
like
funny.
that was one where me and also a lot of people in the comments were like, Greg is really hard on Hugh. And it seemed like some of the things that Hugh did were very funny, and he was kind of a quieter contestant
Yes,
that it was not as well received, I think, when Greg was very hard on him. But
I
yeah,
think
it
that's
did come
fair.
off a little weird, I think. But I think recently, so I have been a big fan of season 9, which had David
Season 9 was
Baddiel
good.
and Joe
Yeah.
Brand. And the two of them together as a team are some of the team tasks are actually some of my favorite things. But Joe Brand and Ed, or yeah, Joe
David
Brand and
Baddiel.
David Baddiel. I was gonna say Ed, but he was in that season too. But Joe Brand and David Baddiel as a team, the two of them just like casually moseying around the house, like let's have a cup of tea while we're doing this. Do you want a sandwich? That type of thing. I loved their dynamic of just like casually doing tasks and not caring very much because I thought that brought a new flavor to the like panic that a lot of people have in the tasks.
Oh yeah.
And so I really appreciated their just like, who even cares? This is just a game show
So,
attitude because
yeah.
it was just unique and fun. But honestly, after watching seasons 13 and 14, those two series might be some of my top favorites because 13 with Judy Love and Ardle and Chris Ramsey, Sophie and Bridget, they they were fantastic. I loved all of them so much. And they had
They're
such incredible dynamics between all of them in studio as well, where they
oh yeah.
joked around so well that I was like so
No
impressed with
way.
no
Like,
way.
no
No way.
way.
It was
That was so
amazing.
fun. Like it's so good.
And they got
Um,
along so well for their team
yes.
tests and everything, but they were just like really supportive of each other and joked around really well in the studio also. And then carrying over into series 14, I was like sad about leaving 13 behind, but 14, they might be my all-time favorite
Oh
cast with,
really?
oh my gosh, I loved all of them so much. Like Sarah Millican, she is hilarious. I've watched a lot of her on Would I Lie to You, so I know she's hilarious. And she was so smart and talented at a lot of the tasks and everything. And then you have Fern Brady, who is weirdly along the same thought patterns as me a lot of times, where she would say things and I'm like, I also would have done that. Whoops. And they really questioned why she did things. You had John Kearns, who looked like a 10-year-old child most of the time.
He
And
looked like he belonged in what's that stupid movie that they have on TBS all Christmas Day? You know, the kid who's like, "You'll shoot your
the
eye
Christmas
out."
Story,
Yes. Like, he
he
had
looks like
such
a 10-year-old
Christmas
old
story
child.
person.
And
Yeah.
like him tossing the jacket and then just being exasperated with all the tasks and looking like he's on the verge of tears all the time,
And then
but
when he had to like
also being
screw his
hilarious.
teammates over, and, they were,
Amazing.
and the one guy goes, "I'm so glad that that's true because I thought you were an idiot." Like
Well,
it's
the
so
way that so
funny.
Dara was probably my favorite in the whole cast,
He's
but you
so
also had
funny.
Munya was in that cast too, and
Hmm.
I didn't think I would like him at first because I was like, this guy is a little bit cocky. However, he just like came off as just someone who was extremely positive and just very confident in themselves in such a
Yes.
positive way, if that makes sense, where it was never like a, I'm better than everyone else. It's just
No, I hard
a
agree.
where he came off in such a way that it was like, I know I can do this. And it was just really endearing me to him, where I was just like, you know what? He's won me over because I also think that he can do these ridiculous things and the Zimbabwean darts exist. But when Dara did any of his tasks, first of all, Dara may be one of the best Taskmaster
He was
contestants
so
ever.
good. Yeah, he was so
He was
good at it.
incredible at all the tasks because not only
Hmm.
is he funny, but he is weirdly athletic and
Hmm.
also just like very smart about doing things in a Richard Osman type way to like find workarounds and everything too. But Dara was so annoyed with John when they found out about that, where Fern was like, "Are you kidding me? You won't even look at me." And Dara said, "You know what? I'm kind of glad to find this out because I thought
I
he
thought
was
you was
an
an
idiot."
idiot. He was so mad. It's so funny.
They
Uh,
called him Dafty in the middle. They did give him a really hard time during that task, yelling at him and
I
everything for
know.
doing things wrong.
But it's so funny because like he was doing a bad job, and like when Fern goes, "Why did you do that, John?" Like you could tell she
John,
was
why did you do that?
heartbroken. Like it was so funny.
Oh, they
Um,
were amazing. Their team tasks were very, very funny. And I thought the dynamics between both of those teams were fantastic because you had Sarah and Munya who were really good at working together. And Munya always had tons of confidence in
yeah.
everything he did. And Sarah was like, I guess we're doing this. All right. Let's,
Okay.
I believe in you too because it's intoxicating. And then you had the
That's
situation with like Fern and John and Dara where you could tell that John and Fern would say things and Dara would be standing there like,
no.
I don't know about that." And he wouldn't really say it out loud, but
Right.
then in studio, their dynamic was very funny too, where you'd have like Fern immediately call them out for being a suck up, and she'd say, "Well, actually, John's not a suck up. Dara is, but John's not a suck up." And I just loved it. But I think Dara is maybe one of the best Taskmaster contestants there's ever been. And I also just appreciated like how the other contestants would make fun of him. And I told my husband this. I was like, I can tell that he is someone who is very comfortable with himself and has
Hmm.
like a very stable ego because most people, if people were like going after them like that all the time, they would be fighting back about it. But
Yes.
he continued with the self-deprecating humor. He didn't punch back at people very
No.
often. And when he did, it was like very much in a kind-hearted way. It was
Yeah.
never like a mean way. Even if people would make like mean jabs at him every now and then, he never like went on the offense to say like, "Oh yeah, well you're dafty," or
Right.
or
Exactly.
whatever. But yeah, I found him to just be so charming, and I thought he was just great at all the tasks. So I loved Dara. But yeah, I'm
I
in season 15 now and loving it too.
I also shout out to Series 8 because I really liked that season with Lou Saunders and
Yeah.
Paul Sinya.
Hmm.
And there's something very I always like, this sounds weird, but I always like the people who are too competitive, but they at least know that they're overly competitive. So like Ed
Well, Lou
Gamble
was
being
very
like,
bold to come in wearing a outfit that said Taskmaster Champion.
yeah. But like she's funny and like I I really was charmed by that series. Like
You
I
should
think it's
watch
always
Last One Laughing because she's on that and she's
okay.
hilarious in that.
And I just remember like it was very funny to have Lou on there and then like Ian being like, I don't like the way I'm being shown on this. Like this
He
is
was so
very
mean to her.
eye-opening. He was so mean. But I do appreciate that like he didn't shy away from it or he didn't
Hmm.
like defend himself. He was just like, all I did was scream at a woman to get back in the kitchen. I don't know what came over me. And it's like, oh, at least you like had
Hmm.
a sense of awareness, which I don't think is always shown. And like,
I think it is like telling too that these are, even though it's like a game show, people are very stressed out in these
yeah,
situations that they are under a time crunch and everything. So you are not at your best and you do yell at a
no.
woman and feel very bad about it.
Tell her to get back in the kitchen. Like,
Hmm.
so I do appreciate that those because it was very much uh caveated with Joe Thomas, who was never upset ever with
Hmm.
anything. Like that
He
man
did
was
get upset
so
once though,
he did.
where they
Yeah.
were all, I think this is when they had to like get rid of something, or an eraser they had to get rid of. And he took a lot of time getting rid of an eraser, and the other people just flushed it down the toilet. And he was very upset in the studio where he's like, I'm so sick of putting in all this work and doing all these things, and other people finding a stupid workaround and getting points for it. And then he just kind of stopped and he was like, I don't know what came over me.
So- and also like watching him play like the flashlight game is one of the most charming things I've ever seen a human do. Like I
Uh-huh.
did very much like Series 8 because I
Which
think that that one is a lot of fun.
was he?
But yeah, I was a huge fan of Series 8 and like them on the
Yeah.
lawnmower when they were tied like where they had blindfolds on. Amazing.
And they
So
had to like
good.
go through the obstacle course. Poor Paul.
Yeah. Poor Paul. I did feel terrible for Paul during that one because like he obviously was struggling like health wise and
Sure.
yeah, this show is just so charming and like you
Hmm.
said, a good comfort show where it feels
Yeah.
like even when people are being antagonistic, it's all in good fun and there's something about
Hmm.
like five comedians on the stage working to just do silly little tasks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually just been an ultimate like escape for a lot of people, I think, to just watch people do these strange tasks involving rubber ducks or weird kitchen items or what have you. So, yeah, I really think that the show is incredibly clever and that Alex Horn, actually, the creator of it, he puts a lot of time into the show and making sure that it's cast well, that the tasks are well thought out, and that he's doing a variety of tasks. He's not
Yes.
reusing a lot of tasks and things the same way. And I think that he's very creative. He takes a lot of pride in his work also,
Yeah.
to the point that I think some of his friends are a little bit annoyed with him for the way that he will kind of like search for people mentioning what a good job he does and everything. But he seems like, and granted, I'm just a viewer and I don't know this person or anything, but he seems like an incredibly kind person in all the interviews and things that I have watched him in as well, and his appearances. And also just seeing him on Taskmaster, he does seem like someone who is very kind. So
Yes. And I
I
think
do like
he's
that.
I also think he's someone who's getting a lot of flowers right now because with Taskmaster going to YouTube, it has gotten like
Hmm.
resurgence in the audience where like a ton of Americans now watch
Yeah.
Taskmaster, and it is like becoming
I will
more and
also
more
say though,
popular.
Taskmaster, I've heard other people talking about Taskmaster as well. There may be a bit of a Jason Mantzoukas effect here.
He did blow up Task. I think like because he went on it, which I think the show knew, like, because
Hmm.
originally even he said in interviews, like Alex came in prepared to pitch the show to him, and Jason Mantzoukas had to be like, "I want to be on the show.
Like
I am pitching
I am,
myself.
yeah, I am volunteering to come
I'm a
across the pond.
huge fan. I want to come on your show. Can you please let me
Hmm.
on the show?" And so I think like he did give them that outlet to come on like a lot more like late night talk shows because
Hmm.
Jason Mantzoukas is huge in like comedian circles in
Oh
Hollywood.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
a lot of these people that are on like late night TV are people that are formerly in like Groundlings or Second City, and so they all know each other. And Jason Mantzoukas was one of these people. So he's buddies with Seth Meyers, he's buddies with Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and all these other people, and a lot of celebrities, honestly,
yep.
that he's worked with. So then you have Greg and Alex who are going on to talk about Jason Mantzoukas being on Taskmaster, and these people are like, "Oh, we know Jason." And please don't think that this is all of the United States.
No, no. It's very specific
Jason is
too.
unique.
He is, I mean, I'm a huge fan. He is such a
Unique in the
unique
best way.
character, but like I just think about the fact that he dated Connie Britton all the time and I'm like, yeah, good for him.
But it also makes sense. Like, who
Yes.
can that man not date?
I know. He
I
has the best
challenge,
swag.
I was gonna say, I challenge women to be able to turn him down. I don't think they
I
could.
know. It's so funny too,
Jason
like
Mantzoukas, this is I'm talking
yeah.
about.
No, no, no. Listening to Paul Shear's like memoir where he had a really embarrassing moment with Connie Britton and then,
Hmm.
and then she just like came to an event with Jason and he's like, "Oh my God, we have to leave." uh
Oh, but yeah,
but
the Taskmaster lore has kind of gotten off the charts where Greg, as the Taskmaster, and his assistant Alex are playing these roles as people who are in kind of a dominant and a submissive role. And
and
people
that lends
have kind
itself.
of run with this, saying that they actually are in this type of relationship in real life and
Yeah.
that they're not actually friends who have gone camping together, which they have. Uh,
Yes, they but they've gone camping together.
but yeah, so there is subsequently a lot of fan fiction that has been created about the relationship between Greg and Alex, and
hmm
they are aware of it.
They are aware of it. You see them talk about it on a lot of interviews because people love to ask them about it, which I don't know if I'd
Hmm.
ever want to hear anything like talk about that, but they are usually like pretty jokey about it and they even lean into it on the show that they're
Oh yeah,
in some type of romantic relationship.
maybe
So
not even like in a relationship, but that there's some kind of sex involved. I have noticed that as my husband and I have watched further on in Taskmaster, seasons 12 through 14, Greg and Alex have definitely leaned more into the touches and the close looks and the glances and things like that than they have in previous seasons.
which is so funny.
It's amazing.
So Laura and I, we went to Where the Smut Lives, aka AO3, Archive of Our Own,
Archive of our own.
to see what's out there in the Taskmaster fanfic universe. And it's a lot of kink exploration, I'm not gonna
There's a lot of stuff.
lie. A lot of rough oral sex, a lot of first time or verbal humiliation, all of those things. So
Mhm. There's a lot of awkward Alex, I will say. And I think that is also like this is me coming into this being like, I'm the one who's been saying for multiple years on this podcast that I have a quota when it comes to sexiness that I can handle for the year. I think Alex Horn is also the same as me because his reaction to some of the
his fake
contestants making
reactions. Oh.
sexual comments to him and
Uh,
everything, or like Greg and stuff, his reactions to this kind of stuff, if they're fake, they're very convincing because you can tell that there is a glimmer of him actually feeling uncomfortable with some of the stuff. And I think people have leaned into that on AO3.
They have. So I pulled up a bunch of random stuff. Laura did as well.
Mhm.
that we're just going to talk about generally. I did notice weird, not to king shame anyone because you get to do what you want to do. I did feel a little bit like icky reading about two people who already exist in the real world in their like smut fan fiction universe where I was like, oh, I can picture these two people and they do exist, so this makes me feel a little weird. So, um,
I guess it doesn't make me feel totally weird knowing that there's like lots of fan fiction that exists where there's like movie characters that people are definitely picturing movie characters, those like
yeah, but
actors.
those are like acting. Like I think I've always been someone who I'm like, as long as it's just two people acting, I'm fine. But this is like two people
These
in
two
their
are
real
also
world.
acting on
Um,
Taskmaster as well. Like Greg Davies is not
I
someone
know
who
he
is
is
this
not
harsh in
actually this
real life.
right.
He seems like a delightful human that is incredibly nerdy. So
Who like the only person listed on his Wikipedia as one of his romantic partners was like in like British politics,
yeah.
like which
Hmm.
totally tracks for him. So they are playing two very specific characters on this, but I did pull some there like people on AO3, you and I don't dive into AO3 very often. I do find it incredibly charming because there's one called Dancing in the Dark by Sugsy Girl, and she said the summary is Greg admits to being lonely and Alex tries to help. And
I have
then
this
in
one pulled up as well.
and then in the notes it says this is the tamest, sweetest thing I've ever written. There's one mild swear word in it and some kissing. And I think that that's deeply charming.
Hmm.
Um, and in this, we find Alex on Greg's sofa. A lot of Greg also being lonely. I feel like we're digging into who they are personally and just like imprinting into it, like what they are on the show. Because
I
it's
mean,
like
Greg's never alone because Rod's always in his closet.
Rod is always in
Rod
his
Gilbert
closet. Uh,
videotaping him from the closet.
it's so funny when like you have people be like, "How are you guys friends? And have you been friends for like so many years?" But this one has Alex and Greg sitting alone on Greg's couch talking about how Greg is very lonely and he just wants someone who's not his family member to touch him. And so
Who's not his family member.
that is specifically a line in this where he's like, I haven't been touched by someone I love, who's not my family. And Alex reassures him that Rachel's okay with it. Uh,
It's Alex's wife.
yes. And they're both drunk, and so then they dance. Uh, it's so beautiful because Alex says, holding his hand out and feeling like an absolute twat, biting his bottom lip at the thought that Greg might just laugh at him, and they dance together. And then they kiss, and Alex says he needs to talk to Rachel.
The
Which is,
absolute twat line is something that people have pulled from the show because Greg has referred to Alex as that.
oh, really? That's very, I
Hmm.
didn't even realize that. That is very funny.
Hmm.
Um, but this is a rather short piece of fiction that is a one shot. So, I did enjoy reading this because it is tamer and just very funny to be like, what do we know about Greg? He is single.
To the bewilderment of many.
To the bewilderment of many. He's just so tall.
I don't know if you've seen any of Would I Lie to You, his appearances on there, but my husband and I particularly enjoy this story of, there's many stories of Greg's that we enjoy that are usually real.
Yeah,
And
usually real.
one of our favorites is him talking about how on a family trip they invented a game called Milky Cow, and how the people did not believe that this was actually a true story, particularly David Mitchell. But David Mitchell may just be a little too posh to understand what it's like to be on a family trip and how weird siblings can be about inventing games.
Oh yeah.
But Greg invented this game, Milky Cow, where they just have to say Milky Cow for the longest time and they end up just Milky Cow. And basically, whoever runs out of breath first is the loser. But yeah, Greg is very funny and nerdy, and he seems to have a really fun sister and mom.
Yeah, he does. Uh-huh. His mom will often just be like, "Oh yeah, use my picture for stuff." So,
And she
like,
came on What I Lie to You. She's not
oh,
afraid
that's
to
nice.
back him up on things.
That's so funny. But yeah, I've noticed in a lot of these, it's usually like Alex getting hurt and Greg realizing his feelings for him, or them being
A lot of
alone and
Greg
drunk.
realizing the feelings because we all know that Alex's feelings are there.
Exactly. They're right there the entire time, and he's just awkward about it.
I've
Oh,
actually got a shorter one up right now called The Kiss. And the summary is that Greg acknowledges that he's in love with Alex.
Perfect.
Uh, I might just read the whole thing because
Yeah,
it's
please do.
fairly short. It isn't a single moment a bolt of lightning from the blue that forces Greg's brain to acknowledge that he loves Alex, that he's in love with Alex. Greg has never had the kind of love that feels like someone has struck you in the head with possibilities. Every one of his relationships has been a slow, creeping slide from fondness to wanting to spend as much time together as possible to tortured longing. This is no different. Perhaps it sneaks up on Greg so effectively because he's protected by Alex's marriage, by his masculinity, by the sheer unlikeliness of the want that lingers in Greg's gut every time he
Mm.
looks at Alex. Oh my God, you're such a weird little man, Greg declares, his arm comfortably around Alex's shoulders as they stand in the pub, surrounded by their friends and coworkers. I'm not little, said Alex slurs, which is another thing he says often,
Yes.
the sulky tone making his facial expression even funnier. You're my little Alex, croons Greg warmly directly into his ear, squeezing Alex's shoulder and letting the words caress Alex's skin, a smile plastered over Greg's face. I like being yours. Alex stares at Greg for just a beat too long. Greg slides a hand down Alex's back, ending up curled around his waist, squeezing the slight pudge spilling over his belt. Do you? Oh, yeah, Alex replies, his voice deeper, lowered so only Greg can hear him. Feeling a sudden shiver trickling through his nervous system, Greg takes a step back, asking if Alex wants another drink, and then fleeing to the bar in a way he hopes Alex hasn't made note of. The next time Alex and Greg are alone together, Greg tries to distance himself, not allowing the alcohol he would usually indulge in to affect his decision making, and trying to keep as physically distant as he can from Alex without the other man noticing. Have I upset you? Alex asks, after the third time Greg moves over so that Alex is no longer touching him. No, Greg says, panic slicing through him. Why would you think that? You're basically running away. Normally you're draped all over me, but it feels like I'm chasing you around the room. I didn't think that you liked it when I was all over you, Greg says, trying to keep the hurt out of his voice. Alex scrunches up his brow, looking at Greg like he's trying to decipher a complex puzzle. Why would you think that I don't like it? Apart from you saying that you don't like it, you mean? I say a lot of things, Alex points out, scooting closer to Greg on the sofa and pushing their thighs together. So you do like it, Greg asks, feeling his thigh tremble and hoping that Alex can't also feel it. Of course I like it, Alex responds. Like it's the most obvious thing in the world, and Greg is being spectacularly dense about it. They sit together on
Spectacularly.
they sit together quietly on the sofa until Greg is forced to get up, ostensibly to make a hot drink. But really,
Mm.
it's to escape his body's reaction to Alex being so close to him,
At this
surrounded by Alex's
subterfuge of
smell,
tea.
feeling his body close. Did an American write this? While trying desperately not to get hard from the sensation. Greg stumbles over his doormat as he and Alex fall through the door to Greg's flat, tangled
Mm.
together, giggling and silly and spouting ridiculous nonsense that neither of them will probably remember in the morning.
Obviously not.
I can't believe you tried to steal a walking stick, Greg laughs, unrestrained and full of joy. I thought it was a cane. I didn't know it was a disability aid. Alex's voice has a slight hysterical edge to it. Greg finds that Greg finds even funnier than the words alone. Alex puts a hand over his face. Oh God, am I going to get canceled? Nicest guy in comedy, my arse. Greg jokes, making Alex groan. Walking through the living room, Greg continues on to the kitchen, bringing Alex a beer and handing it to him before taking a swig of his own and collapsing haphazardly onto the sofa. Alex sits primly next to him, wiggling backwards and leaning until he's resting against Greg's body, as
Mm.
if his position has happened purely by accident. Greg takes another sip of his beer and smiles to himself. What else have you stolen? Hearing aid, perhaps? Shut up, Alex says, hitting Greg
I'm
lightly on the
so sad you're
face.
not doing this with a British accent.
I can't do a British accent, unfortunately. The Dolthwack shockingly loud. For a second, both men are silent and shocked, and then Greg laughs deep and uproariously. Fucking
Mm.
hell, assault as well. You're a bad boy, Alex Horn. Alex puts his beer down on the coffee table, trying to apologize while bubbling over with laughter at the same time. It's a British version. They put whilst. Uh,
Whilst, well, I mean, it could still be an American being
Maybe
like,
that's
"How do I
true.
sound British?"
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. Greg's cheeks hurt from smiling. He puts down his own bottle next to Alex's and turns to face him, noticing that Alex's eyes are sparkling in a deep, intense blue. Suddenly, Greg feels his stomach twist like he's riding a roller coaster. His body leans forward without his permission and covers Alex's lips with his own. There's a moment of silence, of stillness, and then Alex pushes himself bodily against Greg, his eyes squeezed tightly closed. Greg deepens the kiss and tastes beer and crisps and something else that could be lip balm. Alex
Oh, good.
opens his mouth slightly, his tongue pushing tentatively against Greg's own, a deep moan emerging from between them. Greg can't tell which of them makes the noise. As though someone has suddenly flipped a switch, Alex makes a sharp, gasping, breathy moan and pulls back, his hand flying up to his lips and his entire body pulling backwards. Looking at Greg with shock and something else lurking ominously right underneath the surface, Alex gets to his feet, wobbling precariously before turning and walking out of the flat. Greg makes a desperate, wounded sort of noise and staggers his way through to his bedroom, falling onto the bed, covering his head with a pillow. The muffled scream echoes around the flat, and then there's silence.
Mm.
And that was by, I'm going to give the author credit, Suggy Girl?
Oh, I think that was also the one we just read.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah, Sugsy Girl.
yes. Yes,
Yeah,
Suggy Girl. My bad. Yeah.
prolific.
Prolific
Also,
writer.
First Kiss. Um, I actually pulled up the one with the highest kudos in this
Oh,
category,
yeah. Read it,
under
Hannah.
3,000 words. It's
Read it.
sitting at a 2,200 word. There will be explicit sex, so let me know if we should fade to black in certain things. But I do like how this starts, which is just I went to the notes section, which does make me laugh because they said, "Wow, this really took a turn from what I was planning on writing. I'm sorry I didn't hew more closely to your prompts." Apparently, this is based on a prompt. But honestly, I couldn't figure out how to write a sexual task that could hold a candle to the weird, kinky stuff they already do on air. um, and they hope that
So
they
true.
considered the specific interests. So this is, oh, it's for Libra Alien, but it is written by Yeats, obviously, prolific poet. Uh, they're a month out from the live tapings for Series 7 when Greg gets a text from Alex. "We just finished a block of tasks at the house. We're having a mini wrap-up party at 8 o'clock if you'd like to come." He just came back from doing the shopping, was putting away his groceries when his phone buzzed in his pocket. The late afternoon light slides across the floor beams, oblique and sly. Ooh, sly beams. As Greg stands there in the middle of his kitchen, a carton of eggs balanced in one hand and his phone in the other, trying to decide what to answer. Normally, Greg wouldn't go to these things. Not that he's got anything against it per se. It's just normally Alex wouldn't invite him. On the show, they make it out like Alex is a constant, irritating presence in his life, when really it's nothing like that at all. Greg's not involved in the planning or taping of any of the tasks so as to maintain the impartiality and objectivity of his judgment. Alex is surprisingly serious about stuff like that, which is laughable and honestly a little bit sweet. Sometimes he does send Greg photos from when they're filming with the guests, but only fragments that don't make sense until months later. A garbage bag full of coconuts, Alex's jacket on a hanger with a flower handprint across the lapel. It's been months since they've seen one another. In fact, Greg was working on the next series of Cuckoo while Alex taped the American Taskmaster remake. I love how present this is in time.
This is an American.
This is an American being like, where exactly are we on the timeline? Before he can think about it too much, there's another text in the same formal diction Alex always uses, the weirdo. Even Greg's not that old. "I think you should come." All right, then. Sitting in the back of a car headed to Chiswick, a bottle of whiskey snug against his side. Oh, this is definitely an American whiskey, is spelled with an E. Greg wonders about it some more. Maybe it has something to do with Los Angeles. Of course he's happy the concept is taken off around the world. It's fucking funny. And Alex deserves every bit of attention and recognition. But still, there's something unnerving about knowing Alex is being his obsequious self for someone else. Greg shakes his head sharply, dislodging the thoughts as though it were water trapped in his ear. By the time he pulls up to the cottage, dusk is settling into night. He thanks the driver, tips him 20 quid, maybe British, no, I'm kidding, and steps out on the crunching pebbles of the drive. The party itself is fairly tame. Maybe a dozen crew members milling around the set, drinking from plastic cups and making small talk. He recognizes almost all of them from the results show taping, and everyone seems pleased to see him. It's nice. He's glad he's come. He doesn't see Alex for a while. Al Murray is there for some fucking reason, chatting in the kitchen with one of the boom mic operators. Greg takes a moment to give him shit for coming around and drinking on the production company's dime when his grandfather was the home minister or some shit like that. What is this? Is so small little tangents. Piss off, you megalomaniac, Al, waves his beer at him. Your fucking power over me expired a year ago, but he's grinning as he says it. Eventually, Greg finds Alex talking to Tim Key in the room Alex rather daintily refers to as the library, and what Greg has always thought of as torture chamber number 2. Greg, Alex says, his hands flying up like a pleased aunt at a baby shower. He makes a little abortive gesture that almost looks like he's going to hug Greg. Of all the ridiculous things, Los Angeles must have really done a number on his brain. You're here. You didn't fight me, Greg points out. Hey, Tim. Hey, Tim gives them both a very Tim look. And you came, Alex smiles, that big, goofy, gap-toothed smile of him. He's flushed and bright-eyed in the white shirt and dark trousers, evidently having shed his suit jacket somewhere along the way. Greg turns to Tim. Is he pissed already? Tim chuckles. Nah, he gets flappy at the end of filming. Alex gives an outraged little huff. Well, let's see if we can fix that, Greg says, holding a bottle of whiskey aloft. At the end of the night, it's just the two of them, sprawled out in the couch in the library. Of course, this has to happen at the Taskmaster
Yes.
house.
That's where
Greg
they live, Hannah. Alex says it all the time.
Greg sort of
Alex lives in the camper behind the place.
perfect. Greg sort of assumed Alex would be off by now, home to his family and joining some of the APs at the pub down the road. But here they are, passing the bottle of whiskey between them. It's still mostly full. They're neither of them young or dumb enough to get truly plastered on a Tuesday night. But there's enough alcohol coursing through Greg to give him a bit of a buzz. And that's what he feels like, to be honest. A buzzing in his vein, the low level drone of a motor humming to life. Alex is telling a long, meandering story about Los Angeles, something to do with Freddie Highmore and a basketball. Honestly, Greg can't be a fucked to listen. What was it like, though? He asked, cutting Alex off. What? His eyes always go a little cross eyed when he gets interrupted, as though he's trying to follow the trail of the conversation back from where he left off. It shouldn't be as endearing as it is. It was mostly very hot and dry. Not that part, Greg waves a hand. Recording with someone else. How is that? Alex gives a little huffing laugh. Are you jealous? Greg snorts. No, he says, and he's not, truly. Jealousy isn't the right word for it. The bracing jolt low in his gut when he thinks about someone else, a stranger, berating Alex in public. He doesn't know what the word for it is. Call it professional curiosity. Besides him, he can see Alex twitch a little. He was great, very funny. He had a really nice rapport. Was he mean to you? And if Greg lets a little of his taskmaster voice leach into his words, the schoolmaster's haughty disdain, well, maybe it's being there in the cottage that makes it feel natural. Or maybe it's the way Alex plays along, sliding down a bit lower in the seat with his shoulders rounded, his show posture, the thousand little character ticks that he's honed over the years. He was very nice, Alex says, and even his voice has taken on that familiar, soppily naive tone. Was he? Was he very nice? Greg mimics. Yes, he was. But that's not really what you wanted, was it? As soon as Greg says it, he regrets it. Alex sucks in a breath, his eyes comically wide, and fuck, he's crossed the line, hasn't he? That's the problem with years of doing improv. He spent so much time saying yes and that it's fully so much Americanness that it's
Oh,
fully
yes.
overpowered the parts of his brain that would counsel restraint. Which, come to think of it, probably explains how they've just developed this particular dynamic in the first place. Aha. He was about to say something. He's not even sure what. Apologize, maybe? When Alex mumbles, it wasn't. Another bolt of indecipherable feeling hits Greg. And of course, Alex been doing improv for years, too. Of course, he knows just as well as Greg has built a scene. Yes, and? Of course not. Greg twists the words. Like this, don't you? You like it when I tell you what a craven little worm you are. Alex swallows. Yes, he's flushing now, face red in a way that Greg knows has nothing to do with the whiskey. His hands scuttle across his lap before dropping limply to his side. He glances down at his hands, then back up to meet Greg's. Yes, he says again, and Greg knows that Alex heard the real question he was asking, please, in a lower voice. And there it is, the feeling again, the jolt. Greg heaves himself upright as he, very sexy, heaving yourself upright, and uses his height to
I
loom
mean, he's
over
a large
Alex.
man. He has to heave.
Enjoying the little choked off sound Alex makes before plucking the whiskey bottle from his grasp and settling it down on the coffee table. Christ, Greg exhales. Look at the state of you. And look, if Greg's being perfectly honest, he's always known this was about sex on some level.
He didn't get into this for the job at all.
That is like that was the beginning sentence was we've he's always known this was about sex, Laura.
Amazing.
This rapport that he and Alex have spent on stage building, this dark twisting cord that's looped around Greg's fist at one end and Alex's throat at the other. You didn't have to go to Oxbridge to know what sadomasochism was, although it certainly didn't hurt in Alex's case. Still, the way Alex is breathing heavily, the unmistakable bulge in his trouser, or the press of Greg's own cock against his jeans, the way he keeps shifting against the sofa, it's almost startling how inevitable it all feels. Greg slides his right hand along the back of the sofa behind Alex, plants his left foot on the ground, and turns his body, boxing Alex in against the arms of the sofa. Little Alex Horn, he croons, so pathetic. Christ, Alex says, a weak echo of Greg only a moment ago. Here's something I've always wondered, he says. This is my house, but we both know I don't live here, do I? In fact, you're the one who's always in and out of here all day, aren't you? Alex nods, the fast jerk of his head. Yes. His left leg starts to shake. Greg folds his hands over Alex's kneecap, feeling the tremors against his palm and the muted heat of skin through the fabric. So really, Greg goes on, when there's pictures of me hanging in every room, when you can't take a step anywhere in this house without feeling like I'm watching you, that's for you, isn't it? You like to imagine I'm watching you. Alex squirms. Greg tightens his grip, pinning him in place. Yes, a little bit.
You can tell these people do watch the show so much.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they're huge fans. Like, this is very specific. Is that what you did when you were in America? Greg says, goading him a little. I mean, they even know when
Yep.
Alex would have been in America. You imagined I was there, that I could see you. Sometimes, Greg hums, as if a particular theory of his has been confirmed. And it has, in a way, hasn't it? He slides his hand up Alex's thigh, following the seam of his trousers, and leans in close enough that the lips brush Alex's ears. And what did I watch you do? Alex takes an ugly, gasping gulp of air. I don't know. I mean, yes, you do. Greg closes his hand over Alex's erection. Was it this? Fuck, Alex whispers, his breath hot against Greg's temple. I don't. Greg squeezes. Alex moans. Come on, Greg coaxes. You can say it. You know you want to. He grains the base of his palm against Alex's dick. I touch myself. Alex says it all at once, low and fast and humiliated. He pops open the fly of Alex's trousers, drags down the zipper, and wraps his hands around Alex's cock. Little Alex Horn, he says, touching his little dick like the little pervert he is. I wish you guys could see Laura.
I knew that
Face
was
squarely
coming. I
against the
knew that
hand.
was
I
coming.
know. Yes, Alex mumbles. Yes, fuck, I did. Greg strokes him twice and then pulls back. Show me, he says. Jesus. Alex hunches over like he's been punched in the cock. His cock spurts a bit. A bit.
Just a bit. Okay.
When Alex gets a hand around his own dick, his head lolls back and hits the back of the couch with a dull think. Greg watches the way he pulls at himself, the angle of his grip, and the rhythm as he fucks his own hands. That's good, isn't it? Greg says in a voice he doesn't even recognize as his own. He transfers his hand to the back of Alex's head, fingers splayed wide enough to cup the base of his skull. Alex shoves his face against Greg's neck. Greg feels him take a deep breath. He can't get enough of it, and Ango really works his dick right. But the way he's going, Greg can tell it hardly matters. That's good, Greg says again, admiring. He thumbs Alex's hip, and Alex moans quiet. Greg nail digs into Alex's scalp at the hairline. Alex gasps, tightening his own grip and speeding up. I'm gonna come, Alex says after a moment. He looks up at Greg, terrified and so aroused. Greg can barely see his pupils. Good, Greg says. Come all over yourself. There's a roaring in his ear, a jet engine in his chest. Alex swallows, his hand nearly working too fast to be seen. When he finishes, it's with a long, low sigh, more of relief than ecstasy, as if he's been waiting for this to happen longer than tonight. Greg knows the feeling. Afterwards, it's Alex who speaks up first. I don't know how I'm going to get through filming in here now. I don't think I'm going to be able to look at this couch the same way again. His voice is still a bit thready from adrenaline, that post-orgasm loopiness. Ooh, good loopiness. But there's a note of uncertainty there. Greg knows what Alex is asking. An unexpected wave of fondness knocks him silent for a moment. You had better not, he says lightly. He runs a hand over the crown of Alex's head, a gesture that somehow feels more intimate than anything they've done so far. Then he snarls his fingers into Alex's hair and tugs hard, pulling him forward. After all, Greg says, unbuttoning his own trousers, you're not done yet. The end.
You know what? These people do have writing chops. Like
I mean,
you
we're
and I have
right
read
in
some
it.
Wheel of Time fanfic, and
Oh
we
my
also
gosh.
enjoyed that. So
Yeah, like
there
sometimes
are
you
a lot
just
of
need
incredibly
these.
talented people that write things, and even though some of this seems a little ridiculous, this Alex and Greg fanfic, these people are good writers.
Yeah, no, like that was a ton of fun. We're right in it.
Yeah,
It
I
is
was
for
locked in.
I'm locked in. Um, no, I always like doing these. Like you and I don't read them too often because I don't know how we could, but like
I will
you're
say I found some other ones just like kind of surfing through here that are about like actual cast members that I feel weirder about. I don't know
mm,
that I want to like read about them, but the Greg and Alex stuff I do find funny because they play into this, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Where it
I
feels less weird versus like some people have made some about other cast members. I'm like, let's leave Mike Wozniak out of this. Why, why was
what
it?
a pick. Why?
What?
No offense to Mike Wozniak, but that's so out of left field. Like,
There was some Mike Wozniak stuff that I was like, I'm just gonna not read any more of that. That
I mean,
doesn't seem right.
I do appreciate archive of our own being like, yeah, we're gonna warn you. Like there are different warnings you can put in here so that we
Hmm.
know what we're dealing with. So I think that that's good. And I actually read one that we didn't go over because I lost it due to internet connections. But it was like one where they're like, I know that this isn't a good representation of kink, so please don't read it for that. I was like, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I do
Uh,
think a lot of these, though, like some of them are quite sexual, but there are a lot of these that are kind of just like Greg and Alex interacting and Alex having the guts to stand up to Greg. Because I'm looking at one right now where they're like at a party together and Greg makes a comment to Alex about being a worrier or being quiet, and Alex like snaps back at him. And then they have to have like it's a weird moment where Alex realizes that, oh, he felt anger. How dare he towards the Taskmaster? And that they have like a weird dynamic that, basically it's weird that Alex thinks that he can't say things to him.
yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of these where it's like actually not sexual. It's just like Alex being able to stand up to Greg and like say something.
That is very nice. I do think like I don't know, there that is what these sites are created for, so you can find out what you like and what you dislike and like to play as an author. So I do think that that's awesome that like a lot of people get different like flavors of themselves here. As someone who wrote fanfic when I was younger. So I really appreciate this. It's fun to come back.
Yeah, a lot of I would say people need to be checking out some of this stuff because like it's quite funny. I don't think we're going to read all of it, but maybe a couple
Yeah.
more if we find some shorter ones just because it's
Yeah, and we
quite
can
long.
sort by word count. I do think that that is helpful.
Yeah,
So
like
that,
this one is multiple chapters that I'm looking at right now.
yeah,
So I'm not going to read that one. Um,
I specifically only looked for like th 3,500 words and under because I was like, I
oh,
can't
gotcha.
read that fast. And so, um, yeah, I let's see, canon typical kinkiness, great. There are also like songs that people have made fan vids in this, which I think is very fun. There's fan art.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure.
problematic. Taskmaster microfiction, 13 words. I just want to know what that means. This fic, like Alex Horn, is very short. Is 6'2" and 6'11" a predatory height difference? Google's Alex Horn, hopefully.
So this one is Morning Has Broken. Alex, here's something not meant for him. It's a big moon tonight. Excuse me. It's a big moon tonight. It fractures in the charcoal clouds, cavernous and terrifying. Picks out the lumpen plastic toys that litter the quiet lawn, sends great pale scars of light down Rachel's candlelit dining table. Oh, is his? I gotta
This
read a
might
little bit
be
here.
with his wife.
Is his wife in this? Alex checks his FPL score, scrunches up his nose, and slips his phone, the trader, back into his pocket. He fidgets. Greg's been in the toilet almost 10 minutes. He refuses to use the downstairs one. Some Byzantine politeness in his mind that Alex plans to untangle one day when he's nothing better to do. Even the baby monitor, having uttered a single feeble bleat a few minutes ago, has fallen silent. Through the doorway, the kitchen looks warm and yellow and cluttered and inviting. If he cranes his neck, he can just see a little bit of Rachel's hands, the bright spill of her hair as she plates up. She won't welcome him pestering her. She's wanted to make this specific treacle tart for Greg for ages. It's meaningful somehow in a language of affection they both seem born to, one that Alex can only slowly translate. He decides he'll sit outside the toilet door like a dog, say stuff to try and make Greg smile. Standing up, he stubs his toe on a skateboard, the one with all the wheels ripped off, and
Ah,
gently kicks aside a headless plastic dinosaur. He completes the stairs slalom course of t-shirts and boxer shorts without even really registering it, and is already halfway down the landing before he registers the soft song coming from the baby's room. The words come like a lullaby into the corridor, like the first bird prays for the singing. It's possible that he actually staggers. He'll never know. It's maybe a little high, Greg's singing voice, weak in places but good. Gentler than Greg has ever heard it before. It's the sheer I can't say it. Incongruous. I can't say this word.
incongruous.
Cruness?
Oh, maybe not.
Incrog
In
incongruousness.
oh, I
I
mean,
can't
it's
say it.
supposed to be incongruous, I think. So it's incongruousness,
Incongruousness. It ends with ness.
incongruousness. Oh, that is a $10 word, I don't think.
It is difficult for me to say. Of it that stops him dead. The springtime song in midwinter, a panian to panian? Is that a word? Panean? I don't know that word.
Penin? I don't Penian. Yeah, I
Panian.
guess. Mm.
To morning here in the dark. Holy words in Greg's mouth. The fact that he must have turned the baby monitor off. Alex's brain likewise flickers and goes quiet. He pads along the corridor to the darkened hallway of his son's bedroom. The mewling, shrieking bane of Rachel's days.
Oh my gosh.
Love of all their lives, his eldest current favorite plaything is draped peacefully over one massive shoulder, snuffling slightly. Tiny fists clench in ease at the fabric of Greg's shirt as he drifts by inches back to sleep. One hand enveloping Alex's son's entire body, Greg has his phone out in the other, the universal pose of the distracted parent. Its thin electric glow betrays him, though. He isn't looking at it. He is looking at the smallest, frailest, and most unnerving blue-eyed horn, with a face utterly broken open with love. Alex feels like a monster just for seeing it. For them springing. He sounds slightly Welsh when he sings, thinks Alex stupidly. Then no, of course he doesn't. He's heard him sing 1,000 times, so he just sounds more Welsh when he sings this specifically, because it's a hymn, like the first dewfall of the grass. Alex watches as the oblivious and subject of many years' ferocious self-restraint cradles Alex's child to his armpit, looking as though the meridian line of all earthly happiness ran through that pink, snorting blueprint of a boy. It should probably be beautiful in some way. In fact, it mostly just hurts.
Mm.
Sweetness of the wet garden sprung. He hadn't known he'd been in love with Greg for so long it almost bores him sometimes, like hunger or having to brush his teeth. And yet
Obviously.
somehow it's something, and somehow it's just this moment in this child's nursery, lit by sharp shards of moonlight, watching him sing a little song for Rachel's God and Rachel's son, that he's discovering quite how much he's been loved back. Perhaps he shifts a little or just makes a slight noise. He couldn't say either way, but either way, Greg's head turns a little. They look at one another. Greg's voice doesn't falter even a moment. His expression closes, though, half the love in it locked away at once. Alex, with a violence that he doesn't really like, immediately wants to pry himself back open again. He wasn't done looking. Completeness where his feet pass. Greg turns away toward the window, the cold moon and untidy garden, away from Alex. Oh, I lost my place. Away from Alex, and whatever awful honesty must be on his face right now, he doesn't stop singing. Mine is the sunlight, mine is. Alex retreats. He has to. He stands in the dark corridor for a moment, exhales, dizzy. He takes another step back and treads on a defunct Nerf gun. The splitting pain through the arch of his foot is a true and faithful friend, helps him bear the weight of the hymn. The one light Eden saw play. Greg is so sweet, so easy with everyone, so free with his affection, so lavishly loving, so flirtatious and apparently unrestrained and childishly eager that despite everything, it hadn't simply occurred to Alex that there might really be more.
Mm.
Alex's is a colorful, riotous, chandelier word. Um, Right? Masterpiece of fragile, glassy wiggles, sleepy kisses and silly games and perfect trust. It occurs to him now that he might not be the only one who, for the sake of keeping it aloft, had put his hands behind his back and touched only with the most circumspect fingers the contours of something that he wants very much. Every morning,
Obviously.
God's recreation of the new day. Alex listens with breathless suspense, ears prickling to the silence that follows. Finally, he hears the rustle of a blanket, the tiny creak of Greg settling the baby into the cot, tucking him in. In another moment, Greg walks out, leaving the door slightly ajar. If he notices Alex at all, perfectly still in the corridor, he gives no sign of it and goes past him down the stairs. In another moment, Alex hears him exclaiming rapturously to Rachel, genuine joy in his voice and the lilt of her glowing satisfaction. Alex breathes again, suddenly completely shattered. Then he heads into the nursery, careful not to wake the baby, and turns the monitor back on.
How poetic.
I
Speaking
didn't
of,
know where that was going to go.
I honestly, it was a wild ride. It went
Yeah.
a lot of places. So, wow.
So
Okay.
Rachel and Alex are still together, but apparently Alex and Greg are like pining for each other, and they don't want to ruin Alex's marriage.
I mean, I wouldn't want to either, so I get it. Do you want to
No?
hear a poem?
Yes. Yes,
I
please.
figured. Uh, I just want you to know, stanza one, Alex to Greg. I think you smell like leaves and rain on a cloudy day. The heat that simmers under every word you say, nicotine and chewing gum and secrets on your breath, whispering into my ear will surely be my death. And then stanza two is Greg to Alex. I think you smell like baby powder, or like an ice clean, or like an old clean dog. Old clean dog, not new. The autumn warmness of a jumper, mushrooms on a log, brass and wood and peppermint, the way I like my tea. But most of all, I love the way you smell right next to me. And then stanza three is both together. Come to bed, my sweetheart, and sleep perchance to dream. Neath the covers, we are not as scary as we seem, just the two of us in love and close and in too deep. I love the way you smell, like you're the promises I'll keep.
I like it.
I liked it too.
A
That
lot
was
of calls back,
fun.
a lot of callbacks to the show, like things that
Yeah,
they say.
I know. I smell like an old wet dog or old
Because
clean
like
dog.
in that opening sequence where Alex gives his like update on what he's been doing or what he's up to or statistics about himself, that type of thing, he says weird things like that. So
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. I loved it. Thank you for that poem, Lady
yeah, that was
Jekyll,
great.
which is the name. So, uh-huh.
A lot of
There are
talented writers.
lots of talented writers, lots of new stuff. A lot of this is from like
Hmm.
2023, 2024, and 2025. So, come on, guys, get writing your fanfic and send it to
Yes.
us. All right. Well, I think you and I have done a deep enough dive
Yeah.
into the Taskmaster universe. And we, as always, are fans of Archive of Our Own. So go get reading on there
Yes.
because why not? Laura and I found some amazing stuff. And thank you for listening to this bonus episode as we head
Yeah.
into a new season. So next week, we're probably going to have a little bit of a housekeeping hello, nice to meet you, because this is a new series and we are doing a new mystery series, which is new for us. It
Yes.
is not going to be fantasy or sci-fi this time around.
Hmm.
It is pure murder and detective. So join us then. And
Yeah,
in
we're
the
covering the Dublin Murder Squad
yes, we will be
by Tana French.
investigating the Dublin Murder Squad. And I think the first book we're going to try to see if we can cover 50% of it and do 50%, 50%, then characters and themes. What might happen as the books get longer is we do big chunks in episode one and two, and then a smaller ending chunk with characters and themes afterwards. Because these are very good books, but it's a lot of different characters and a lot of moving parts. So I think we'll be more interested in like the themes of the book and like what the typical crime is
Hmm.
and what it's discussing. So it might give
Hmm.
us a little bit more time to do a little bit more plot heavy and riffing on mysteries. It's going to be a new
Yeah.
format for us. So who knows how it will go.
And you've
But
read
we're
this
both
before,
excited.
Hannah, and I have not read this, so
I
this will
have
be.
read all 7 books, so I'm excited to see because I will always know who the murderer is and Laura will
Mhm.
get to guess.
And I am notoriously bad at guessing. Yay!
And some of these books are a little off the wall with what happens in them if I'm
Oh,
remembering
good.
correctly, where I'm like, where did that come from? And then it just came out of nowhere. So I am excited to get into the new series, the new season. I think Laura's excited as well. We have some good stuff coming down the pipeline. Because this is the first time we'll be covering an actual book in December. So it's a
Mhm.
lot of new firsts for us. Usually we planned it.
I think we have covered a book in December, but it was like back when we were doing Wheel of Time,
Oh,
and so
okay.
it's been a while
It has definitely been a
because
while since
the
we've
past
covered a
couple
book in
years we
December.
just kind of wanted to take December off, so we did a bunch of fun stuff.
But a murder mystery is fun at all times.
Mhm.
So we're looking forward to that. And then in the interim, there's always ways to support us if you so choose. Just things I need to be better about and mentioning on the podcast. Buzzsprout does have an opportunity where if you want to donate some money to us to help keep all of this running, you are allowed to do that. It's in all of our links. So make
Yeah,
sure
that
that
would
if
be
you
great.
want
We
to do
really
that,
appreciate that.
that would be amazing. Our Patreon isn't up right now just because we haven't been making new content for it, but I think we are hoping to get it up and
Yeah,
running
we're hoping
sooner
to
or
get that
later.
launched again soon.
Um, we have been doing this podcast for quite a while and it's been great. We've had a lot of new listeners come around, specifically because we got our YouTube up and running. It's pretty much just the podcast in podcast format, but we've had some subscribers there, so that's been
Yeah,
amazing. So
thank you.
thank you. And I think we have some good stuff coming down the pipeline. So just if you want to support us there, do that. Or at the very least, just make sure you're subscribing and telling friends about us. That is a
Yeah,
great
sharing really helps.
it does. And so does rating, reviewing, and subscribing. It just kind of makes sure that you're staying
Hmm.
current in our feeds. And the downloads do help in ways you don't see. And it might give us more opportunities down the road. So we do always appreciate
We also have a
that.
blog where you
We
can
do.
find more of our stuff. A lot of author interviews that Hannah
Hmm.
has done on rpod.com. And then we're on socials at mostly just BlueSky and Instagram.
Yeah.
Also TikTok occasionally at rpod,
Yes.
OWWR Pod.
I try to post there at least once a week and trying to go through our backlog, but life be lifing. So we are trying to get those up and running, but it's always helpful to have you guys listening and following along with us wherever we are. So thank you so much. We do appreciate all of
Yeah.
it. And we appreciate
Thanks
you
for
listening
listening
today,
today.
listening to us read smut.
Yeah, a little bit of a different episode, but hope you liked it.
We do hope you liked it. It was fun for us. It was a little bit lighter. So we appreciate that. We appreciate you. And we can't wait to talk next time when we are into a brand new season. Bye.
Bye.